Welcome, travelers. For those of you new to the channel, Acleon Chronicles is a world-building project that I've been working on for over a decade now. Acleon is a world of magic, intrigue, and conflict, reflected in the people who populate it. My videos are a collection of art process, storytelling, and lore exploration. For a long time, all this creativity was only seen through my D&D campaigns and the comics I illustrated. There's so much to Acleon that I want to share with the world, and that's why I started this channel. I won't let all this work go to waste. If this is your jam, then please like, subscribe, and comment on this video, and tell me where in Acleon you would like to explore next. The Saalic Coastlands stretch along the western edge of the Central Territories, a region of enduring beauty and diverse people. Today, they stand as one of the Empire's richest provinces, but their story began long before the banners of Rhodes flew above their cities. Once these lands were part of the Kingdom of Saal, a proud nation founded by the rebel hero Ballard Falk after the fall of Zilduga. Saal thrived for centuries, holding its own among the other nations of Tyr. But when Rhodes retaliated against and eventually conquered Balsamo, the Empire inevitably turned its gaze upon Saal. With the fall of Panzergrad, the nation's capital city, Saal was brought into the fold. Over time, the Empire grouped the coastal lands of Saal, Balsamo, and Minosova into a single administrative region, the Saalic Coastlands. Land of windswept fields and cold coastal breezes, Nordfeld was shaped by ancient eldritch glaciers. Its hardy folk live off sheep farming, windmills, and the rich fishing grounds of its rivers, bays, and subterranean lakes. The vast forest of Ishvold is laced with rivers that snake from its tallest mountains. It surrounds the great city of Panzergrad, one of the largest settlements in the Empire, and is where the Red Road ends. Here, Imperial power collides with Saalian resistance, as rebels use the woods to strike at their overlords. Ishvold is also known for its golden amber, a prized material used in the crafting of jewelry and enchanted heirlooms. To the east stretch warm plains of grain fields and orchids. Villages here in the Veltheris Flats cling to the old Saalic traditions, gathering at stone cairns to remember past battles and to share communal feasts and stories. Once a humid but fertile land, Spaltenmeyer now suffers from the corruption of Lake Verrat. The White Queen rules from the peninsula town, and the waters that flow past it carry sickness and undeath downstream. The people here are wary and suspicious of everything. Charms to ward off evil spirits can be found sold in every market here. South of the mire lies a serene forest land, its heart marked by the Fen Triplets, 3 great peaks visible for miles around. A haven for those seeking peace, Fenthania is considered the gentlest of the coastland regions. Between the twin rivers Barosi lie a mangrove swamp ruled by the Magog, giants descended from ancient spell lords. Their city of Salmagog sits on the edge of the coastland's largest freshwater lake, whose depths are rumored to hide the ruins of an underwater temple. Outsiders know this land as the Stone Marsh, but to the Magog, it is Argiola Tora, the sacred stone. South of the Magog swamps stretch rolling hills and plains. Farmers of Galera de Vent live between the enchanted Silvathania and the sea, honoring the hill guardians with offerings left at ancient burial mounds. These locations dot the land, the only reminder of past kingdoms long since fallen. The Saalian people remain distinct even under imperial rule. Since Rhodes' conquering of the region, Most of the larger settlements along the Red Road have become quite diverse, with trade bringing in people from all across the continent. However, the farther you get from these well-traveled roads, the longer the family trees go back to Saul's origin. The largest ethnic group in the region can be traced back to the nation of Hammerstool, before the rise of Zilduga. Generations exposed to Geistermagiek, the now forgotten art of soulbinding, left the Saalians born with albinism. Even to this day, more than half of the Saalic Coastlands population is born with fair skin and white hair. Those descended from the original Geist royal bloodline suffer the harshest form of this condition, yet are suspected to have some supernatural connection to the spirits of the dead and are shunned for it. One's family name holds great importance to the Saalian people, and contributing to its history is seen as a lifelong goal. Lineage scholars keep records of the surnames in their communities. They are often hired out by local families to compile their ancestry, both for public record and for personal desire. Copies of these ledgers are sent to the Grand Library in Panzergrad to be kept safe. This practice did not die out after Rhodes' conquest of the region. In fact, with the wave of settlers arriving from the east, it became more important to the Saalian people that they did not forget their history. To appease their demands, the emperor allowed the people to choose a speaker-elect to represent them, as the old nation had elected their monarchs before its fall. This position worked under the province's premier, High Pommel Adolphus, to make sure that the voice of the people was heard. By forming this position, that Emperor Tempest had any chance of uniting the Saalian people under his rule. Saalic martial arts traditions are pretty iconic and well known for being flashy and extreme. The bladed cloak, a weighted mantle fitted with dagger-like edges, is popular among the nobility. When used in the traditional Vur fighting style, they could slash through a foe's defenses in large sweeping motions, disguised by the style's dance-like movements. The Kirsch, an immense sword used by the Kirsch masters, is so large that it can be used both as a blade and a shield. These swordsmen are capable of cutting down a mounted knight and his steed in one blow. Saalian armor is inspired by the boxer crabs that populate the western coast. Their bulbous carapaces and spike-like protrusions make for a striking and intimidating motif. Worn by gladiators and knights alike, the armor has been a staple in the region for generations. The Saalians' obsession with their genealogical history bleeds over into their magical practices. Legacy magic is the most common yet overlooked arcane tradition in the Saalic Coastlands, as it does not require a practitioner to manifest it. Family heirlooms often acquire magical properties the more that they appear in the family's historical ledgers. The more stories that are attributed to them, the more in power they grow. Family weapons, armor, even jewelry are passed down over the generations in the hopes that one of them will become a powerful artifact through their descendants' deeds. These heirlooms usually become the symbol of their family or house, steering the course of the lives who live in it. The darker side of legacy magic manifests in the tradition called the blood debt. Somewhere between a curse and a vow, a blood debt is laid on the descendants of someone who has caused a transgression to an individual or a community. A practitioner, such as a mage or a weirdling, can enact it, but typically the debt manifests through the documentation of the crime by a lineage scholar. Usually it takes the form of righting the wrong of one's ancestor, but a blood debt formed from an act that cannot be corrected might require the transgressor and their descendants to pay back the victims in another way. Servitude, guardianship, and monetary compensation are the most mundane forms of punishment. However, blood debts have been known to require more unusual prices from their subjects, such as the firstborn son from the next 10 generations, a destiny of tragic deaths, or even just bad luck. The more who claim grievances with the guilty party, the more powerful the debt may be, possibly burdening numerous generations. Before Zilduga, the southwest region of the Central Territories was ruled by the Koth Confederacy, a collection of city-states, each ruled by a powerful spell lord. It was Apagog, one of these spell lords, who attempted to harness the power of Zola, one of the 5 realms of creation, and infuse it into him and his most loyal followers. The ritual was a success, giving them immense strength and durability. However, it had some unintended consequences. The Magog, the servants of Gog, were made greater, both in size and power, than other humans. However, they never stopped growing. At the age when others would reach their full height, Magogs continued to grow, reaching upwards of 30 feet tall by the end of their lives. As they aged, their skin hardened, with rocky growths forming around their joints, spine, and skull. Eventually, their bodies would calcify, becoming statues to forever dot the landscape. In their final days, Magogs wander in search for the perfect place for their eternal rest, leaving the borders of Argiola Tora lined with warning statues of their kind. Most Magog prefer to live among their own kind, making Salmagog and the town surrounding it almost its own nation. Winning their allegiance was integral to Rhodes gaining the upper hand over Saul, as the Magog make for powerful siege engines. Some of Emperor Tempest's most loyal and powerful elites come from Argiola Tora. No tale of the coastlands is darker than the fate of Virat. Once a lakeside fishing village, it was destroyed 2 decades ago when the Vengral priestess Questra sacrificed the entire population of the town in a dark ritual that granted her a fragment of a divine spark. From the ruins of Virat rose the White Queen, a deathless guardian placed in charge by the now demigod Questra. It is believed that she is the source of the taint that rots the land around her. The corruption has spread outward year by year, as well as the number of evil spirits, undead, and necromancers who have made the place their home. Those who wish to learn the dark arts have made the pilgrimage to Virat, only to return corrupted and infected with its black magic. The Questrites, worshippers of the goddess of undead, have become more common of late, peddling their unsettling beliefs to whoever will listen to them. Panzergrad has always been the gateway to the west, even before it was under Rhodic rule. Ambassadors from far and wide have a place in the Iron City. It is the only imperial city that has a direct line of trade with the technologically advanced Cascadian Isles. Contact with the Elven nation has brought numerous innovations to the mainland, such as the printing press, ether-powered carriages, and even firearms. Despite its prosperity, Panzergrad suffers from its own strife. Over the past 2 decades, there have been a rise in rebellious activities throughout their empire, but none as severe as in Ushvald. The forest around Panzergrad has become home to rebel camps that aim to undermine imperial business. An even older resistance comes from the pirates of the Cyclopean Sea. Formed when those unwilling to submit to Rhodic rule escaped to the ocean, the pirates have been a constant thorn in the Empire's side. While most work independently, there is a fleet of ships called the Erstgebaren, who, under the command of the notorious Admiral Anastasia, have somehow survived Imperial capture for nearly 70 years. Most think Admiral Anastasia is a title, passed on from captain to captain, since she has been in charge from its formation. But those who have met her over the years always describe her the same way: tall, powerful, with long flowing hair the color of sea foam. The trick to the Ustgiboren's ability to outmaneuver Imperial ships is their knowledge of the mysterious islands of the Cyclopean Sea. There is no reliable map of the region, because the islands are said to disappear and reappear at will. Only the Admiral knows how to traverse the ever-changing waves. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Saalic Coastlands. If you liked the video, it isn't the first, and it won't be the last. So like and subscribe so I know that you want more. I'll see you in the next entry of the Acleon Chronicles.